All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's informational webinar for the Solar Ambassador Prize. We are so thrilled that you are here, and we're looking forward to telling you all about this amazing opportunity. My name is Kaylee Isaacs, and I am from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, and I am the prize administrator for the Solar Ambassador Prize. And today I am joined by Beth Elliott from the U.S. Department of Energy, the Grid Deployment Office, who will help me present today. Next slide. And before we get started, we do have live interpretation today. So to hear this live Spanish interpretation, please click the interpretation button and select Spanish. We have Rebecca on our call who will be helping us with this webinar today. Give it just a moment for everyone who wants to hear our Spanish interpretation to be able to join that. And next slide, Thomas. And a few housekeeping items too before we get into the fun of the Solar Ambassador Prize. We have two options for audio. You can either listen through your computer or you can listen through your phone. This slide has directions on how to access each of these options. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please utilize the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. We will be answering a few already questions live that we have prepared, but all of your questions that you write in the Q&A will be posted on HeroX in writing later after this webinar. And if you have any trouble with today's webinar, please feel free to chat the webinar host and panelists, and we will try our best to assist you. Lastly, we will be posting a recording of today's webinar along with the slides after today's presentation on HeroX. And then next slide, Thomas. And just a quick note that today's webinar, none of the information presented is legally binding, and the content in this presentation is intended for informational purposes relating to the Solar Ambassador Prize rules. We strongly encourage all applicants to carefully read through the Solar Ambassador Prize rules before applying to this prize. Next slide. And for our agenda today, we'll plan to cover the background of the Solar Ambassador Prize, an overview of the prize, phase 1 and what you need to know, phase 2 and what to expect if you are selected, how to get started, and then we'll be answering some questions. Next slide. I'd like to take a quick moment to talk about the American Made program. The American Made program is proud to host the Solar Ambassador Prize. For anyone unfamiliar with the American Made program, it is powered by the Department of Energy and administered by the National Renewable Energy Lab. And it is meant to incentivize innovation through prizes, training, teaming, and mentoring. If you'd like to learn more about the American Made program or join our amazing network, please visit AmericanMadeChallenges.org. Next slide. And before I hand it off to Beth, I'd like to reiterate that you should read the rules before applying to the prize. You can find the official rules of the Solar Ambassador Prize on the HeroX page under Resources or on AmericanMadeChallenges.org. The rules are available in Spanish and in English. We have dropped in the chat where those rules can be found. And now I'd like to hand it over to Beth Elliott from the Grid Deployment Office, who will be providing some background on the prize. Beth, over to you.
Thank you so much, Kaylee. Next slide, please. Great. I think one more as well, one more slide. Thank you. In February of 2023, the Grid Deployment Office, or GDO, launched the Puerto Rico Energy Resilience Fund, or PRERF, after receiving $1 billion from Congress to improve the resilience of the Puerto Rican electrical grid. On July 31st, the PRERF announced summer funding opportunities, including a funding opportunity announcement, or FOA, centered on installing 30,000 to 40,000 residential rooftop solar and battery storage systems. This funding announcement will prioritize the island's most vulnerable households to receive subsidized rooftop solar and storage systems. This Solar Ambassador Prize goes hand in hand with the FOA and will allow DOE to partner directly with community-based organizations, or CBOs, nonprofits, and certain for-profit entities to perform outreach and engagement to vulnerable Puerto Rican households who qualify for residential solar and battery storage systems. So, what does a vulnerable household mean in the context of who can benefit from this program? Beneficiaries of the program include very low-income single-family households where an individual with an energy-dependent disability resides, or very low-income single-family households located in a last-mile community. Last-mile communities are defined here as a census block that has a high percentage of very low-income households and experiences frequent and prolonged power outages. Very low income is defined as an individual, homeowner, or household that is enrolled in or receives benefits from one or more of the following government assistance programs: Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, Nutrition Assistance Program, or Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. An individual with an energy-dependent disability is defined as an individual that relies on electricity-dependent or battery-dependent medical equipment or assistive technology to live independently or to assist in performing activities for daily living. This includes individuals that rely on medication that is required to be refrigerated, and DOE has a full list of qualifying medical equipment on its website. Our team at DOE heard loud and clear from Puerto Rican stakeholders that we should prioritize the most vulnerable and that community groups should be at the center of this program. So we're thrilled to walk you through the details of the Solar Ambassador Prize and how we're putting community voices first to assist us in deploying tens of thousands of solar and battery storage systems that will increase energy resilience and decrease energy bills. And with that, I will hand it over to Kaylee. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Beth. Next slide, Thomas. All right, so thank you, Beth, for that background. That's very helpful for today's informational webinar. So before we get, or since now we know how the prize was developed, let's get into what the prize is. Next slide. So what is the Solar Ambassador Prize all about? This prize is a $3.5 million two-phase prize designed for organizations in Puerto Rico to assist the Department of Energy in identifying, engaging, and assisting with intake processing of qualifying households for residential solar and battery storage inspections. In phase one, organizations will submit their outreach and engagement plan that details how they intend to reach, engage, and assist the most vulnerable residents in Puerto Rico. In phase two, ambassadors will then implement their proposed plans and go out into the identified communities to assist households with their household intake applications. So as mentioned, the Solar Ambassador Prize has two phases, design and deploy. The current phase, phase one, opened on July 31st and runs through September 25th. The goal of this phase is to identify organizations that can demonstrate an ability to perform local, in-person outreach and community engagement to ensure that federal funding reaches the intended most vulnerable residents in a defined geographic region of Puerto Rico. In phase 2, winners from phase 1 will implement their proposed plans in identified regions and assist households to complete their household intake application. Phase 2 will open in the fall of 2023 and will close next year in the winter. Next slide. And as I mentioned previously, this is a $3.5 million prize, which is incredible and very, very exciting. This table details the prize amounts for each of the 2 phases of the prize. Phase 1, winners will receive $15,000 per winner and the opportunity to participate in phase 2. In phase 2, winners will receive $100 per verified household that your organization signs up. Additionally, every ambassador that signs up 750 verified households will receive a $10,000 incentive prize. Next slide. Thomas, next slide. Thank you. So who can participate in the Solar Ambassador Prize? This prize is open to community-based organizations, or you'll see them referred to as CBOs, nonprofit organizations, and for-profit organizations. To be eligible for this prize, organizations must be located in Puerto Rico. And please note that individuals are not eligible for this prize, which means you must be an organization to apply. You can read more about the full eligibility in the prize rules, which we have posted in the chat, and you can find those prize rules on HeroX. Next slide. All right, let's talk more about phase 1. Next slide. So phase 1 is the first of the 2 Solar Ambassador Prize phases. This phase will award up to 20 competitors with $15,000 in cash prizes. The goal of phase 1 is to encourage organizations with existing connections to vulnerable communities in Puerto Rico to bolster current engagement by creating engagement plans that include educating homeowners on residential solar and storage and benefits of participation in the PRERF program. Selected winners will receive $5,000 upon being notified of winning phase 1, and then they will receive the remaining $10,000 after completing the required training in November. Next slide. The phase 1 contest is open now, and the submission deadline is September 25th at 5 p.m. ATET time. We are anticipating a winner announcement around late October. Once phase 1 winners are selected and announced, those selected phase 1 winners will be required to attend a training in November in order to move on to phase 2. Again, the official rules and the phase 1 submission form can both be found on HeroX, which is our prize platform. And next slide. So I've mentioned HeroX multiple times, so now I'm going to take a moment to do a live walkthrough. We've dropped a link to HeroX in the chat, and I encourage each of you to follow along with me as I show you how to sign up for the prize and show you where to find key information about the prize. Okay. So this is our HeroX page. You can see here, it's the URL is herox.com/solar ambassador. So this is how you can get to our prize page to find more information and to apply for the prize. Here on our summary tab, you can find a little more information about the prize. You can also find more information about the Puerto Rico Energy Resilience Fund by clicking this link here. If you scroll down, you can see another link for the rules. So this will take you to the rules link as well. And we also have this in Spanish as well. If we click over to timeline, you can see all of the important dates so you do not miss out on this prize. So we are currently at the phase 1 informational webinar here. And you'll see here is our submission deadline and so forth. These are all the important dates, and these will be updated if needed. On the forum here, if you have any questions regarding the prize or you are having difficulty with applying to the prize, anything, you can post your question here. Simply click on new topic, have your title, maybe it's submission or you need help. That would be your title, and then enter your question here, create, and we'll get a notification that you have a question, and we will respond to you within 24 to 48 hours. Here on the Teams tab, you can see everyone who is following this prize, who is interested in this prize. So if you have not signed up on HeroX, please do so. This will be how you find out about important information about the prize. Entries, when you create your entry, this is where you will see it. On resources here, this is where you can find all of the important links for this prize. So we have our rules, we have them in English, and we have them in Spanish right here. We also have the informational webinar slides as well here. And we also have a frequently asked questions in Spanish as well. So if you have more questions and before you post on the forum, you're interested, please take a look at our frequently asked questions in Spanish here. We also have our English questions here as well. Before I move on, going back over to the resources. So here again, you can see on the official rules, you click on this link and you will get the rules. So again, encourage you to please read through these. And then for your phase 1 submission, you will need to look at this interactive Puerto Rico last mile community map. This will be required to use this tool to identify regions in Puerto Rico that you're going to plan to engage in Puerto Rico. So you will see this in the prize rules that you will need this. Click on this link here. In one moment. Okay, we'll come back to that. But so those are where you can find all the important things. Now, to sign up for the prize, you will need to create a login. This is my login. This is how I know. You will have an icon and you'll be following this prize. And so you're going to click on solve this challenge here. You're going to have this competitor agreement, which you must accept in order to be able to apply for the prize. And then you can create a team if it's you're applying with your organization and you want them all to be on your team. You can create your own team. You can join a team if you're interested and you already know your colleague has a team. You can join them, and then competing individually. Again, we do not accept individuals for this prize. They're not eligible for this prize, but you can compete individually in the sense of like you are just the individual. You're not going to have a team of people as well on your team. your organization is applying for this prize and you're not inviting a colleague to also join on this team. For the sake on here, I'm just going to click on the no, I want to compete individually. I can begin my entry now. And also this is a draft, so I can always save and I can come back to this later. So you can start your submission today and you can come back to it and add in more information. So we're asking for a title. So what is your engagement plan called? What are you going to do for this prize? A short description. This is not required, but if you'd like to provide that, an image, we're asking, how'd you hear about us? Eligibility, you will need to go through this eligibility to make sure that you qualify for this prize. And then I will get into this in just a moment, but these are the submission requirements. So we have our cover page, and then this is where you will upload your narrative, and then you can save, or when you're ready, submit this entry. And once you have done that, I'm going to put done that here. You can go into your entries. Oh, right here, sorry, where it says PR, mine currently, that's where you can go back to your entry. So this is the HeroX page. This is how you will apply for the prize, how you will submit your application materials will all be through HeroX. And again, this is where we will be posting all of our important links and updating our competitors, our followers about the prize. So please make sure that you sign up and you follow the Solar Ambassador Prize. All right, Thomas, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And again, if you have any questions regarding HeroX, please feel free to send a question in the Q&A feature, and we will be providing a written response later on, and we'll be posting those onto HeroX. All right, next slide. So what to submit for phase 1? I briefly showed you the submission on HeroX, but I'm going to get into more depth on what you need to submit for phase 1. So for phase 1, you will be required to submit a cover page and a narrative. Your submissions may be submitted in English or in Spanish. Next. So the first requirement is the cover page. This information is collected through HeroX submission form and is not a separate document upload. So we briefly saw that during the HeroX demo of the cover page. So you will list your, you'll have that submission title. So I had as PR, your organization name, your organization city and state, the organization address, the organization 9-digit zip code, your organization website URL, your register number, and then we will need the point of contact information, their name, email, and phone number. And the starred elements that are on this slide will be made public on HeroX, so other competitors, other followers of this prize may see that. Next slide. The final submission requirement is the narrative, which is the heart of your phase 1 submission. For the narrative, we ask that you respond to a series of questions and prompts within 2 areas. First is the organization and team. You should be describing your organization, your participating team members, your past experience, the community partnerships, and how your organization aligns to the goals of the prize. The second prompt for the narrative is the phase 2 strategic plan and community engagement approach, which is you should be talking about what is your plan to engage with and work with communities to perform program outreach, education, and complete intake processing of qualified Puerto Rican households for residential solar. You will have 5,000 words to answer all 2 areas, which is approximately 10 pages of text. In the rules document, you will find additional detail on the narrative starting on page 11. On the right side of this slide is a screenshot of the narrative detail table. The left-hand column has the narrative prompts for what we'd like you to discuss, and on the right are the related judging criteria statements on which your submission will be scored. We will talk a little bit more about how scoring works on the next slide. Next slide. So each submission will be reviewed by a panel of reviewers who will score and provide comments on your submission. The first part of your narrative, the organization and team, will have 24 points possible. And the second part, the strategic plan and community engagement approach, will also have 24 points possible. Reviewers will review all submission elements and then score the narrative based on the judging criteria statements that we just mentioned on a 1 to 6 scale, with 1 being the lowest and 6 being the highest. GDO is the final judge and will make selections based on reviewer scores, comments, and the program policy factors. And lastly, as a note, the prize administration team may decide to hold interviews with teams to clarify any questions or information before announcement of winners. Interviews are not an indication of winning. You can find more information about the scoring process in the rules document. Next slide. After announcing phase 1 winners, selected ambassadors will be required to attend this in-person training in November. At least 1 individual from your organization will need to attend this training in order to move forward to phase 2. This will be a mandatory in-person opportunity in Puerto Rico lasting 1 day for teams to review key information and tools for phase 2 deployment. The following topics will be covered: Solar and Storage 101, structural eligibility, information collection, technical training, communication flow, and community engagement. After training is complete, ambassadors will receive a certificate of completion and will meet with a mentor from DOE to discuss a final deployment plan and verify subject competency. If any changes are made to a solar ambassador's deployment plan, it will be reviewed before phase 2 begins. Next slide. So now that you know how to apply for phase 1 and what we are expecting for submission, let's talk about phase 2. So phase 2 will begin in November 2023, shortly after selected phase 1 ambassadors complete their training. During phase 2, ambassadors will activate their proposed plans to perform program outreach, education, and assist with intake processing of qualified Puerto Rican households for residential rooftop solar and battery storage systems. Some of the activities and requirements for phase 2. Ambassadors will perform outreach, education, and assist households with their household intake application. Household intake applications will be completed by the individual household and entered into a database. All household intake applications will go through a verification process to ensure household eligibility, complete information collection, and that there are no duplications. Ambassadors will be rewarded $100 for every verified household that completes an application for solar installation. Ambassadors that submit 750 verified household intake applications will be eligible for the $10,000 incentive prize. All of the phase 2 submissions, a phase 2 submission package, will be due through HeroX at the end of the phase. Next slide. Like phase 1, ambassadors will submit materials for phase 2. Ambassadors will submit a cover page and a presentation through HeroX. The household intake applications will be uploaded to a database throughout the prize competition period. Next slide. So very similar to phase 1, you will submit a cover page. And it has the exact same information as phase 1. And then you will also be submitting a presentation. The presentation should be no more than 10 slides and should provide a summary of your engagement plan and the process. And this is a pass-fail criteria. So on this slide, you can see some of the questions we are asking for you to provide in your presentation. Again, you can find more details about phase 2 submission in the official rules document. Next slide. Along with phase 2, or in phase 2, you will be doing household intake applications. Household intake applications must be completed by the homeowner of the household and submitted through the approved online database for verification. So you as an ambassador will not be submitting a household intake application. Only the household will be, they will be providing their information. You will not be providing their information as an ambassador. Household intake applications can be submitted throughout the competition period. Applications must be complete and verified to qualify toward the per household award and the prize incentive count. As I stated earlier, the applications will go through a verified process. Any applications that do not pass the verification will not go towards the ambassador's count. If an application is incomplete or contains inaccuracies, our independent contractor may notify the household and/or the ambassador and work with them to complete the application or to correct the inaccuracies. Next slide. So how do you get started on this amazing prize? Next slide. So first, if you have not already, you will need to get signed up on HeroX. So make sure that you follow the prize on HeroX, which again is herox.com/solarambassador. Get signed up there first, and then there are some other additional action items for you to do. If you have more questions about the prize or need additional support with your submission, we highly encourage you to attend one of our office hours. You can come to one of the 2 office hours or both to ask your questions. We will be available during that hour to provide support as much as we are able to. You can also, again, post your questions to the forum tab on HeroX anytime throughout the prize period. And again, we will get back to you between 24 to 48 hours. Going back to our office hours, I did not say the dates. We have August 29th at 2 p.m. Or September 18th at 3 p.m. And those are in ET time. Now, lastly, if you are ready to submit your phase 1 submission, make sure that you read the rules before submitting. And again, you can find those rules on HeroX, and we have dropped that link into the chat as well. And make sure that you submit your submission by September 25th, and that deadline is at 5 p.m. We will not be accepting any late submissions, so please make sure that you get your submissions in before that time. Additionally, would encourage you to start your application now in case you do have any technical issues or questions. You can reach out to us, and there will be plenty of time for us to help you. All right, next slide. So now we are going to move on to our Q&A portion of this webinar. Again, if you have any questions, please type them into the Q&A function. We will provide a written response after the webinar, and we'll post those to HeroX. You can find those on HeroX after the webinar. Give us maybe a day, a week probably, actually, and we will post those into the HeroX onto the resources tab. So again, I'd like to introduce Beth Elliott, and I'd also like to introduce Deborah Aponte from the Grid Deployment Office, who will be helping me answer some questions today. And again, as I have stated many times, and you might be tired of me saying this, but please read the official rules. You will be able to find so much more information, and that is our legal document. So that has the last word. It supersedes everything. So first question, do applicants have to be a registered for-profit or nonprofit entity? Which the answer to that question is no. The applicant does not need to be officially registered as a for-profit or nonprofit entity. Non-registered community organizations, such as religious collectives and special interest groups, may also apply. But all applicants must have an existing presence in Puerto Rico. We cannot stress that enough. You must have a presence, be local to Puerto Rico. Our next question, do applicants need to have a background in energy and solar? This is a great question, since this prize seems to be focused on getting residential solar. But the great thing about this is no, applicants do not need to have a background in energy and solar to apply. Any eligible entity that has strong ties to its communities and past experience working with vulnerable households are encouraged to apply and will receive the necessary training and information for participation in the program. So we will provide that training and information for you. Next question, how many individuals should comprise a team? The applicant team should include enough individuals to complete the work as asked for in the prize rules. Any individuals participating must be associated with an applying team. So you should have enough people on your team to be able to do the work that we are asking for. Next question, what does the required training in November include? and why is the training required? The Solar Ambassador training will be a single-day in-person opportunity for teams to review key information and tools for phase 2 deployment. This will also give teams the opportunity to revise their engagement plans and review them with the prize administration team, if necessary. At least one individual per team will be required to attend this training. Again, this will take place in November of this year. If a team does not attend this training session, they will be unable to move forward to phase 2. And this training will be only for teams that are selected that win phase 1. They will be the only ones going to this required training in November. Deborah, do you got the next question?
Will I need to travel to participate as a solar ambassador? Travel within Puerto Rico will be required for solar ambassadors. Travel to the mandatory ambassador training taking place in Puerto Rico will be needed, as well as travel to different communities in Puerto Rico to complete phase 2 activities. And I'm gonna hand it over to Beth.
Thank you. Our next question is there any restriction on how I spend the cash prize funds? Selected solar ambassadors will receive $15,000 in seed money during phase 1 in order to carry out their proposed community engagement plans. The phase 2 prize funds, solar ambassadors will receive $100 for and storage systems. Oh, I'm getting a request to read that one again. I'm sorry, my internet might have been unstable there. The question again is, are there any restrictions for how I spend the cash prize funds? And the answer to that question is selected solar ambassadors will receive $15,000 in seed money during phase 1. And that will be to carry out their proposed community engagement plans from phase 1. The phase 2 prize funds are rewarded on a per household basis. And so signed up and verified to receive these Deborah.
Will the rooftop solar systems be provided for free under this program? Not totally free, but these systems will help the average qualifying family save money on their electricity bill. Some of those savings will be used for long-term maintenance payments on the system to keep them up and running for decades.
All right, our next question. Hopefully my sound is a little better now. The next question we have here is, I understand that in addition to the Solar Ambassador Prize, there's a funding opportunity announcement for installation of these solar and battery systems. Can I apply to both this FOA and to the Solar Ambassador Prize? The answer here is yes. An entity that meets the eligibility and qualification criteria for both the FOA and for the Solar Ambassador Prize may apply to both.
The PRERF is $1 billion, but this FOA has a maximum award of $450 million between all topic areas. What is the plan for the rest of the funding? The Department of Energy is pursuing a multi-phased approach with funding opportunities through FOAs and a prize. This first FOA focuses on single-family residential rooftop solar PV photovoltaic systems, and battery storage solutions. The Solar Ambassador Prize is a complementary effort to this first FOA. In addition, a second FOA is expected to be released next year and is likely to focus on community-level resilience investments, which may include solutions for multifamily buildings.
Great. Thank you so much, Deborah and Beth, for helping me with our Q&A portion of today's webinar. Again, we will be posting we see all of your questions, and there are so many. We are so excited to see so much interest in this prize. We will be answering all of these questions, and we will be posting them to HeroX. I would say you can expect to see these your questions answered by within a week to give us some time to review them. So we will post on HeroX with your answered questions, and there will be an update notifying you. So if you have not already, please make sure you have signed up on HeroX, that you have followed the prize on HeroX, because that is where you will find the important information regarding the Solar Ambassador Prize. So this concludes today's webinar. We will be posting the recorded webinar and written responses again to your questions on HeroX. So thank you again so much for attending today's webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to post those on the forum on HeroX, and we will get back to you as quickly as possible. Thank you.